Hello. Yesterday, I uploaded a video with this thumbnail. Venezuelan genocide. 250,000 dead, 8 million victims of ethnic cleansing, those who had to flee the country. And today I got a comment on Blue Sky saying that, oh, this has mostly been debunked. Well, let's look into that. He didn't say anything about the numbers, no, but let's look into it. So, he linked to this article in PolitiFact, which is from 2020, I believe. And this is fake, this is not true. And I will go through it. I don't think anybody has studied this topic more than I have. As a leader of a publication and intelligence unit of the Venezuelan resistance. In fact, I was the first one who noticed that the regime was preparing this genocide. That is, long before people started dying, I sounded the alarm that they were preparing it. And they executed the plan, and we could see how people were dying. So I stand by 100% in the claims of the thumbnail. So let's look into it. The problem with calling Venezuelan crisis under Maduro genocide, and this is in response to Rick Scott, the governor of Florida, mentioning it. Now, let's go down here. First, they claim a little bit what is said, and that he defended the use of the word. And then he says here, experts we contacted agreed that the situation is deplorable. However, they also agreed that Scott's use of the word is a significant overreach. It matters, they said, because using the word genocide too loosely makes it harder to define and stop actual genocide. Well, if you have 250,000 deaths and 8 million victims, is that not an actual genocide? Let's see why they think this is not an actual genocide. And then they say what's happening in Venezuela: corruption, mismanagement, disaster, 3 million people have left. That was then, now it's 8 million. And there was a Florida election. Okay, so what else? What else? A precise death toll is hard to come by, though news reports said dozens. Dozens. We're talking about 250,000 deaths, and they write dozens. How about that? For biased. And, okay, so here is many more have died due to blackouts and lack of medicine and food. Now, what is many more? What is many more? Here we're coming to the crux of the problem. 250,000 died, more or less, between 200 and 300,000, died due to lack of medicine and food. The thing here is that this lack of medicine and food was not an accident. It was not due to a natural disaster. It was a deliberate regime policy in order to kill people. It was deliberate. Let's get down to the definition here, because they say that Rick Scott's office sent them a list of the definition of genocide. And then they go on to say that, oh, but this doesn't meet this definition. Well, it does. Look here. Genocide means any of the following acts committed with intent to destroy, in whole or in part, a national, ethnical, racial, or religious group, including A. Killing members of the group, they do. B. Causing serious bodily or mental harm to members of the group, they do. C. Deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction, in whole or in part. Bingo! And then we have two more that I will skip over, because it's not so easy to say right or wrong on those two. But the first three, definitely 100% they are doing. And then they go on to say here that the situation in Venezuela is different, referring to the United Nations, which, as we know, is a biased actor in this. The United Nations has Venezuela and Cuba and Russia and Nicaragua as members, and therefore they are biased. When they can put Venezuela on the Human Rights Council, Venezuela, a country that's committing crimes against humanity and genocide, on the Human Rights Council, do you think that organization is unbiased? So, it says here, the UN, importantly, the victims of the genocide are deliberately targeted, not randomly, because of their real or perceived membership of one of the four groups. Well, guess what? They're not killing people randomly in Venezuela. They are deliberately targeting them, as I said in my video yesterday. They are targeting the people who are not registered with the regime. They're not, that is, the people who are not submitting to the dictatorship are being targeted. Every Venezuelan, not just some of them, every Venezuelan, that's the national group that they're targeting. Every Venezuelan that does not go over to their side is targeted. It's like a religion. If you don't join Islam, we kill you. That's how it works. And let me come to the next point here and debunk their other argument. Here it says, for instance, that it excludes political groups. Yes, that was the Soviet Union who got that in there, because the Soviet Union would not sign this unless the political group thing was removed, because communism is based on genocide on class lines. That's class warfare. And if political group had been included in this, all communism would have been declared illegal. So they had to exclude that. So the target of destruction must be the group as such and not its members as individuals. And it is. It was all the Venezuelans who did not submit to the regime. You see, in order to get food, you had to sign a paper that you were faithful to the regime. If you didn't sign on, well, not a physical paper, but literally, but, symbolically, you had to sign on. If you did not do that, you did not get food, and you were left to starve to death. And also you did not get medicine. As I said in my video yesterday, our coordinator in Caracas died for lack of a crucial medicine. So, it says here, one of the UN, Maduro's action do not seem to qualify as a genocide under the legal definition. Well, if Stalin's genocide in Ukraine, the Holodomor, was a genocide, then this is genocide, because he's doing exactly the same thing. That's because under the UN definition, genocide means the destruction of a specific group. Yeah, it's Venezuelans. The term national in the UN definition does not apply to the case of Venezuela, says he, since that term is intended to refer, the term national is intended to refer to national groups such as the Kurds, the Inuit, the Basque, that's ethnic groups. So here is try to parse the argument in that way. They are Venezuelans. Venezuelan is a nationality. Therefore, they are a national group. The fact that they don't have a word such as Kurds or Inuit or Basque or Jews or Iroquois or Goth or whatever is beside the point. It's like saying you can't do a genocide against American citizens because that's not a national group in his definition. BS. Why are they, Anthony Clark Aaron, why is he defending this? I would say that you who are good at investigating, investigate this mister and see what links he may have to the drug cartel or to the Soviet propaganda. Russia, Soviet, the same thing. So, here it says also, acts that are targeted against the population as a whole or groups not listed, while potentially horrific, do not qualify as genocide. Oh, he means those four groups, but nationality was included. Acts that are targeted against the population as a whole. Well, the list of groups includes nationality. Here, committed with intent to destroy in whole or in part a national group. A national group. And down here it says that acts that are targeted against the population as a whole does not qualify. But the population as a whole in a nation is a national group. He's really parsing words here. Why? Why is he defending the genocide? And here, Michael O'Hanlon in the Brookings Institution says, it's not really genocide when you're killing your own people without attention to race, language, religion, or other factors. Well, here is the other point, the killer point. It's not their own people. The target are the Venezuelan population, the ethnic group of Venezuelans. That's the group. And it's not their people because the regime is not Venezuelan. The ones who are controlling the regime and holding in the puppet is Cuba, Havana, Cuba, the cartel of Havana or the Cuban cartel. They are the ones who are really controlling Venezuela. Their security services are everywhere. It's the G2 from Cuba that is sitting in the head office of the security services in Caracas, and they are present in all the military installations in Venezuela. It's the Cubans who control Venezuela, not the Venezuelans, and therefore the Venezuelans as a group is a national group under this definition of genocide. And furthermore, Nicolas Maduro is not Venezuelan. He's Colombian. He was born in Ocaña, Catatumbo, norte de Santander, in Colombia. That's why. So we see, the definition covers it. National group, as such, Venezuelans. It's done by foreign regime, by foreign president, so it's not their people. And it's massive, it's targeted against everyone, and the purpose is to destroy them as a national group, to destroy Venezuela as a people that can stand up and defend and have liberty and freedom in their country. Because Cuba wants to control Venezuela, and there is ample evidence of that. There are recordings, secret recordings of them talking about that. There is no doubt whatsoever that this is a case of a Cuban occupation of Venezuela, and they are trying to crush the Venezuelan people as such. And that is why this is a genocide under any definition of the word. Thank you.